While I was video chatting with my boyfriend, his roommates started yelling that they wanted to see me. Just as I was smiling politely, someone suddenly snatched the phone. A magnetic, teasing voice rang out. "Don't be stingy. Let the brothers see what our future sis-in-law looks like." The next second, I found myself face to face with my ex-boyfriend, the one I'd had an ugly breakup with. His smile froze, then slowly faded. After a pause, he curled his lips and muttered, "Shit." Chapter 1. The moment he bent down, a silver chain with a ruby pendant brushed past the camera, and my breath caught the instant I saw his face clearly. Beads of sweat rolled down Ryan's sharp jawline into his open jersey collar. He stared at the screen for 2 seconds, eyes wide in disbelief. Shit. The phone flew out of frame. The screen went black for a second, and then it was hurriedly picked up again. Bruno, holding the phone, complained, "What the hell is wrong with you all of a sudden?" Ryan paused, then scoffed, "You've got awful taste." Bruno, who's normally as gentle as a bunny, suddenly lost his temper and said coldly, "My girlfriend's amazing. Don't talk nonsense." "Yeah, she's gorgeous. Way prettier than the foreign languages department's campus belle." "Ryan, are you blind? If I could date someone like her, I'd eat instant noodles for 3 years. Screw that, I'd eat them for 10. Their rowdy laughter filled the room, but Ryan stayed silent. Bruno brought the phone back up. "Sorry, Ruby. He probably lost a basketball game today and is in a bad mood." Through gritted teeth, Ryan shouted from the back, "I won." We were 20 points ahead. Bruno remained calm, then your brain short-circuited. "Ruby, I'll pick you up for dinner tonight." After the call ended, I lay back quietly on the bed. The summer sunlight was blinding, so I draped an arm over my eyes. It's been 3 years since I last saw Ryan. Didn't expect him to still wear that necklace I gave him. It was a cheap thing. I remember it cost just 199 yuan, and the couple's discount made it 100 for both. I'd thrown mine away long ago. Probably. He didn't seem to have changed. And yet he had. Same face, but now sharper. Like a gemstone polished into distinct edges, rebellious energy barely restrained. I suddenly remembered 3 years ago, right before the college entrance exams, Ryan had also stood downstairs in a jersey, eyes red, begging me, "I'll listen to whatever you say from now on. If you don't want me talking to her, I'll cut her off completely." We agreed to go to the same university, didn't we? His voice was hoarse, and under the night sky, a glimmer flickered in his eyes. "Just don't break up with me. I'll do whatever you want. Please?" He looked so pitiful, almost like he was going to kneel, but I just stared at him silently for a moment before saying quietly, "Ryan, I changed my application. I'm not going to T University anymore." Chapter 2. Ryan and I started dating when childhood sweetheart lost to the new girl, and broke up when the new girl lost to the old flame. I transferred schools in our junior year and became top of the class. Back then, teachers liked to pair high-performing girls with underachieving boys to bring them up, and that's how I ended up sitting next to Ryan. But Ryan had zero interest in studying. He was only interested in me. He'd tug my hair, steal my pen and hold it up high with a mischievous smirk. "Ruby, you're tiny." He passed me notes during class, little stick figure drawings of me. Just as I was about to scold him for being annoying, the teacher spotted the note and showed it to the whole class before making us stand outside as punishment. I'd been a model student my whole life. Never faced that kind of humiliation. Eyes red, I shoved Ryan. "Ryan, are you out of your mind?" He knew he was in the wrong and stayed quiet. A while later, he folded that same doodle into a little origami star and secretly put it in my hand. I looked at the star and couldn't help but smile through my tears. Our relationship gradually improved. I made him study until he understood the material, checked his homework, and never let him copy answers. He, in turn, waited outside my building every day so we could walk to and from school together. We browsed trinket shops near the school gates, and one day I impulsively bought a pair of necklaces with little stars on them. I gave him one. Ryan was a star at school, handsome, rich, and good at basketball. There were countless girls who liked him. One of them cornered me one day and asked, "Do you like Ryan?" Out of teenage pride and a confusing wave of irritation, I blurted out, "I'd never like someone who gets worse grades than me." The girl looked behind me. I turned abruptly, only to see Ryan standing there. I had no idea how long he'd been listening. Expressionless. He walked past me without a word. After that, Ryan never approached me again. He stopped talking to me in class, stopped walking me to and from school. We still shared a desk, but barely said a single word each day. I wanted to explain myself, but he never gave me the chance. Until a year later, when Ryan, after a truly miraculous academic improvement, caught up to me and tied for first place in the grade. That night, he stopped me and said seriously, "Ruby, I'm not worse than you anymore. Can you like me now?" At this point, most of that time is a blur. I just remember the jacaranda trees at school blooming like an ocean of blue. When the wind blew the petals into the air, his eyes shone brighter than a supernova. That light traveled across a galaxy of years, piercing straight into my heart. And in that moment, I heard my own voice say, "Okay." Just like that, we were together. Young love is like wildfire, uncontrollable. We were inseparable every day. Ryan introduced me to all his buddies, even got my name tattooed on his skin. I said I wanted to get into T University. He said he wanted to go to the same college as me. His mom was overjoyed by his sudden academic motivation. Thankfully, my grades didn't slip either, so the parents and teachers all turned a blind eye. We became the only officially dating couple at school. Back then, I truly believed we'd be together forever, until I found out there was always a girl in his heart, one more important than me. Chapter 3. Ryan had a childhood sweetheart named Elise. They grew up together. Elise's father had been Ryan's dad's driver. Years ago, during a car accident that plunged into the sea, he risked his life to save Ryan's father, but didn't have the strength to swim back himself. He died right there. Ryan's father, a man of integrity, immediately brought Elise and her mother into the family, declaring he'd treat Elise like his own daughter and take care of them for life. Since then, Elise and Ryan were inseparable. Even after Ryan and I started dating, she didn't back off. She followed us to and from school every day. This caused countless fights between Ryan and me. Just when we'd finally gotten Elise to stop tagging along, she suddenly showed up again, leaning against Ryan. "Sorry, Ruby," she said sweetly. "I know you don't like walking with me, but I twisted my ankle." Ryan insisted on walking me home. Ryan's eyes were fixed on her, frowning. He scolded her gently. "You twisted your ankle and didn't tell me? If I hadn't come looking, were you planning to hop home on one leg? Get on." I still remember that day. Ryan carried Elise on his back the whole way in front of me. She clung to him, laughing as she told childhood stories. I couldn't get a word in. She pouted and said, "Ryan, my foot really hurts." I'd never heard Ryan's voice that soft. "It really hurts. What should we do then?" "I want cake from that expensive shop on the corner, the priciest one." "Okay, I'll take you home first. Then go buy it." "Ryan, can I walk with you again from now on?" "When I walk alone, creepy guys outside the school keep staring at me. I get so scared." Ryan's brows furrowed. "Why didn't you tell me earlier?" "From now on, I'll pick you up in the morning. If I'm not with you, you're not allowed to walk alone." Elise laughed and looked back at me. "Okay." The sunset stretched their shadows long and close, so close they seemed tied together. Meanwhile, I fell further and further behind. Ryan never once looked back at me. It wasn't until he had dropped Elise off at home that he finally turned around and said, "I have to go get Elise her cake. I won't be walking you home today. Ruby, go home by yourself." I stared at him for a long while, then turned and walked away. Chapter 4. After that night, Ryan and I didn't speak for a whole week. At first, he didn't think he was wrong. Elise is like a sister to me. Her foot was injured. How could I just ignore it? I kept a blank face. She has a mother. She could have called your family driver. Why did she have to wait for you? You treat her like a sister, but does she treat you like a brother? Don't tell me you really don't know she likes you. Ryan avoided my gaze. After a pause, he sighed and pulled me into a hug. "Ruby, I swear I only like you. I'll talk to her and keep my distance. All right?" I closed my eyes briefly. "Okay." And Ryan really did talk to Elise after that. I don't know what he said to her. I only know she came out of the classroom crying and never approached Ryan again. I thought it was over. But a few days later, Ryan came to me, frowning, and hesitantly said, Elise says some guy from another school keeps bothering her. She's rejected him several times, but he won't back off. Today he invited her and a bunch of her friends out. She asked me to pretend to be her boyfriend to scare him off. He saw the look on my face and quickly added, "Just for one night, just so he gets the message." "Oh, I see. Yesterday she needed you to carry her home because her foot hurt. Today she needs you to pose as her boyfriend because some guy's bothering her. What's next? Tomorrow she needs a kidney transplant?" Ryan didn't have the best temper, but he always held back with me. He said gently, "If her dad hadn't saved my father back then, he wouldn't have died. And Elise wouldn't be growing up without a dad. I can't just ignore her. Just this once, okay? If you don't trust me, come with us." At that point, I knew arguing further was pointless. I could only agree. "Just one day. I'm coming with you." Ryan smiled and cupped my face to kiss me. "My baby is so understanding. I love you the most." Chapter 5. That night was my first time in a bar. Just like Ryan said, there was a tall, muscular guy hanging around Elise. Not ugly, but definitely shady, kept trying to wrap his arm around her. Ryan stepped forward, shoved him aside, and pulled Elise into his arms, glaring, "Keep your hands to yourself. She's my girlfriend." Ryan had trained in Sonda since he was a kid. That cold expression of his made the guy back down immediately. Someone tried to ease the tension. "Let's play truth or dare. Zach's treating us tonight. Order anything you like." Zach, that was the guy pestering Elise. Rumor had it his family was tied to the local gang scene. Shops on the street paid his dad protection fees. He was a classmate of one of Elise's friends at vocational school. They met at a group dinner, and he'd been chasing her ever since. Elise had rejected him multiple times, but he refused to give up. This dinner with friends? Just an excuse to confirm if Elise really had a boyfriend. Ryan gave a small snort and tossed an American Express black card on the table. "No need. I'm covering everything tonight." Everyone's attention immediately shifted to the card. A girl's eyes lit up. "Wait, is that the black card? Elise. You sneaky girl. You never told us your boyfriend is this hot and rich." Elise giggled and leaned into Ryan. My fingers clenched slightly. Ryan glanced at me instinctively, but I turned away and avoided eye contact. Zach's face darkened. His buddy, probably trying to defuse things, held up a beer bottle. "Let's play truth or dare. Whoever the bottle points to goes." The first few rounds were tame. Everyone picked truth, and no one asked anything outrageous. I finally relaxed, thinking we'd get through the night smoothly, until the bottle landed on Elise. Smiling sweetly, she tucked her bangs behind her ear. I pick dare. My heart dropped. Something felt wrong. Sure enough, a girl beside her lit up and said, "Then kiss one of the guys here, with tongue." Elise blushed. Her eyes fell on Ryan. Ryan stiffened slightly, frowning. "Then I choose," but before he could finish, Elise pointed directly at him. "I choose Ryan." Zach's face darkened further. Ryan's expression froze. "Pick a different dare." The girl raised an eyebrow. "Aren't you two dating? What's the big deal? Kiss, kiss, kiss." Everyone started chanting. Zach narrowed his eyes. "Are you really Elise's boyfriend?" Elise gave him a bright smile. "Of course." Her pretty eyes turned pleading. She grabbed Ryan's arm, lips slightly parted. "Ryan." I felt my heart turn cold. Ryan stayed frozen as Elise leaned closer. But just before their lips met, I suddenly stood up. Ryan turned his face slightly, and her kiss landed on the corner of his mouth. He panicked and tried to grab me, but I yanked my arm away. Ignoring everyone's shocked faces, I walked straight out the door. Chapter 6. I had just walked into a narrow alley when Ryan caught up and grabbed me. He rushed to explain. "I didn't let her kiss me. I didn't want to kiss her." "Ruby, don't be mad, okay?" I couldn't hold it in any longer. "I've had enough." "Ryan, we're already in a relationship. Don't you know you're supposed to keep your distance from other girls? If you can't let her go, then don't be with me." "It's not like that. I really only see her as a sister." Elise quickly caught up to us, and right behind her was Zach, followed by a few thugs holding steel pipes and switchblades. Zach's face was dark, twisted into a sneer. "Elise, he's not your boyfriend. Is he? You trying to play me?" Elise, eyes red, whimpered and hid behind Ryan. "Ryan, Ryan shielded her. Zach was already tall, but when Ryan stood in front of him, he somehow seemed to loom even higher. Whether I'm her boyfriend or not, she already said no. Can't you understand human language? Said no? Zach raised an eyebrow. Then why did she come every time I asked her out? Playing me on one hand while clinging to someone else on the other. Damn. Elise, you're good. I whipped my head around to look at Elise. She blinked through tears, voice trembling. I didn't. Ryan. He's slandering me. Zach sneered. You're impressive. Ryan, I know your family's rich, but that won't help you here. He waved his hand, and the others started to close in. You're quite the chick magnet. Huh? Zach laughed and pointed at Elise and me. Tonight, you can pick one of them to take with you. The other one stays with me. Don't worry. I'll take good care of her. My heart went cold. Sure, Ryan and I were together, but what did a few months of dating mean compared to a childhood of shared history? Would he choose me? Elise widened her eyes and clung tightly to Ryan's shirt. Ryan, you can't leave me. If my dad were still alive. Ryan couldn't take it anymore. Shut up. He turned to Zach, face stone cold. You're not taking either of them. If you're a man, come at me. Zach's face darkened. Let's see if your bones are as tough as your mouth. He raised a steel pipe and swung at Ryan. Ryan's hoodie flew back in the night wind. The pipe grazed past his ear, but his left hand grabbed Zach's wrist and twisted hard. There was a loud crack and a scream as the pipe hit the ground. The others rushed in. Ryan fought back. But he was only one person. After knocking out two guys, he finally took a hit. A spring knife tore through the back of his hoodie. Several pipes surrounded him, cutting off any way out. But no one dared move in. His bloodied eyes were full of fury. Then Zach made his move toward me. He lunged at me with the switchblade. Ryan's face changed completely as he tried to shield me, but Elise suddenly threw her arms around him, clinging tight. Ryan, I'm scared. In that split second, time froze. Warm blood trickled down my lower abdomen. A few seconds later, pain came crashing in. Ryan rushed toward me like he'd lost his mind. Zach, realizing what he'd done, panicked. He shouted at his men, and they all ran. Elise tried to hold Ryan back again, but he shoved her away hard. She crashed into a metal trash can with a scream. Ryan didn't even look at her. His hands trembled as he tried to support me, but he didn't dare move me. His face completely pale. Ruby. In the final moments before I blacked out, I had only one thought. Love hurts. If I had known, I never would have dated Ryan. Chapter 7. The good news was, I didn't die. The bad news, that stab wound pierced my kidney. I was in critical condition the entire night, barely made it through. I ended up staying in the hospital for a full month. My parents were both heartbroken and furious. My mom lashed out at Ryan without holding back. When you two started dating, I turned a blind eye because your grades weren't affected. If I had known your family was such a mess, I would have locked her at home before letting her date you. We're not rich, but we've never let her suffer like this. Do you have any idea what the doctor said? If she had been brought in 10 minutes later, she would've. Her eyes turned red, and she choked up, unable to finish the sentence. Ryan lowered his head and said hoarsely, I'm sorry, Auntie. It's all my fault. My mom took a deep breath. Don't come here again. Ruby doesn't need your visits, and I will never approve of you two being together. Ryan clenched his fists. Auntie, everything was my fault. You can yell at me all you want. I deserve it. But, can I come by each day to help her catch up on lessons? The college entrance exam is coming. I'm afraid her grades will suffer. The word college entrance exam struck a nerve. No matter how much my mom hated him, she wouldn't risk my future because of it. She had no choice but to reluctantly agree. And so, Ryan and I ended up in this strange limbo. I couldn't bring myself to forgive him. It wasn't his fault I got stabbed, but if he hadn't agreed to pretend to be Elise's boyfriend, I wouldn't have ended up in that mess. Later, I found out that Elise had never actually rejected Zach. She had been stringing him along the whole time. This time was no different. She just used him as an excuse to drag Ryan into pretending to be her boyfriend. Even the girl who suggested the kiss during Truth or Dare had been prearranged by her. Ryan found out and blew up at Elise. He told her they were done for good, that from now on they'd go their separate ways, and that she should never look for him again. After that, Ryan came to tutor me every single day after class, rain or shine, though I didn't treat him kindly. Watching him come day after day, this proud boy lowering himself, staying polite even when my mom gave him the cold shoulder, I couldn't help but slowly soften. Still, I hesitated. I had once said I wanted to attend T University with Ryan, but honestly, I liked the school itself. The finance program I was truly interested in was stronger at S University. Should I give up S University just to go to T University with him? Soon, it was time for the college entrance exam. Thanks to Ryan's tutoring, my scores didn't fall, they actually improved. I was just 1 point away from being the top scorer in the city. That score could get me into any school I wanted. But Ryan didn't do as well. After months of running around and worrying, he got sick during the exams. His grades dropped a bit. He could still get into T University, but probably not into the major he wanted. Ryan took it well while resting at home. He even texted me, "Ruby, can I still go to T University with you?" I thought about it and decided to visit him. I wanted to give us one more chance. I knew Ryan really liked me, and I couldn't lie to myself, I liked him too. Once we got to college, we'd be far away from Elise. Maybe, just maybe, we could make it work. Chapter 8. I found out where Ryan lived and planned to visit him. I didn't expect both of his parents to be home. His mom looked like she'd just come back from shopping, arms full of bags. She was very warm. Nothing like a snobby rich lady, kept telling me to sit down and complimenting how pretty I was. "I've heard all about you from Ryan. He said his girlfriend is both beautiful and smart. He's so lucky to have you. And I heard you two are going to T University together? That's great. We have 2 villas near campus. If you and Ryan don't want to stay in the dorms, you're welcome to live there." Childhood sweethearts taking care of each other makes us parents feel at ease. Ryan's dad, however, clearly wasn't a fan of me. His face darkened as he said coldly, "That's basically living together unmarried. Absurd. The kids may fool around, but you're encouraging it too?" I turned to his mom. "Auntie, I'd like to go upstairs and see Ryan." She smiled and nodded. "Of course. Go ahead. Ryan will be so happy to see you." I went upstairs with light steps and pushed open the door to Ryan's room. "Ryan." My voice caught in my throat. On the gray silk sheets, Ryan was sound asleep on his stomach. He was shirtless, his lean and defined muscles glowing golden in the sunlight. And behind him, Elise, wearing a tiny spaghetti-strap nightdress. She propped herself up and smiled at me. "Hey, Ruby, what brings you here?" The strap was so short that when she sat up, it slipped off slightly, revealing her delicate curves. Ryan blinked in confusion. Then his eyes lit up the moment he saw me, only to freeze when he heard Elisa's voice. Slowly, he turned his head. Stiff as stone, I bolted out of the room. That night, Ryan waited downstairs at my building. He sent me message after message, begging for a chance to explain. By evening, it started pouring. Heavy raindrops shattered against the glass. He was soaked through, completely drenched. Even my mom couldn't bear it anymore. He just recovered from an illness. Go down and talk to him. I took an umbrella and went downstairs. Rain slid down Ryan's black hair and onto his brows. He looked pale, his voice hoarse. "Ruby, I swear I didn't know when she came over. I took my meds and fell asleep. I didn't invite her. After you were hospitalized last time, I told her everything. I said I only saw her as a sister. That she needed to give up. That the only one I liked was you. I believe you." I interrupted. At first, Ryan looked happy, but when he realized my expression hadn't changed, the smile slowly faded from his face. "But I'm tired," I said softly. "Ryan, I believe you love me. I believe your feelings for her are just brother and sister, but I'm truly tired. What's between you two isn't just personal, it's between 2 families. I can see it. Your dad really likes her, right? He probably hopes you two will end up together? That's just what he wants," Ryan said quickly. "I never thought about marrying her. I believe you, but even if we stay together, then what? Can you really cut ties with her forever? Or is it going to be like this again and again? She keeps coming to you. You keep explaining, and I keep forgiving?" I looked down. "Ryan, let's just stop. It's too exhausting." Ryan's voice trembled. He gripped my hand tightly. "But we said we'd go to T University together. Ruby, please, give me another chance." In the heavy rain, his eyes turned red. I couldn't tell if it was rain or tears dripping down. I really can't lose you. Just trust me one more time, Ruby. I'm begging you. I slowly pulled my hand away and whispered, Ryan. I applied to S University. I'm not going to T University anymore. I handed him the umbrella. I'm leaving now. You should go home too. I turned and walked back upstairs. That night, Ryan stood outside my building for a long time. He didn't use the umbrella. The rain beat down on him, making him look like a stray dog, drenched and abandoned, still standing at the place where he thought he could return home. That was the last time we saw each other before we went our separate ways. After that, I went to S University. Ryan went to T University. Worlds apart, we never saw each other again. Chapter 9. I never expected our next encounter to be such a coincidence. I pushed the thoughts aside, forcing myself not to overthink it. What's done is done. I have a new relationship now. As for my ex, better to act like I didn't even see him. Still, I couldn't figure out why Ryan had suddenly shown up here. I had class later that evening, so I arranged to grab dinner with Bruno at the cafeteria. What I didn't expect was for Ryan to show up too, wearing a black hoodie, the same silver ruby necklace hanging around his neck. Without hesitation, he sat down right next to us. I frowned. Can you sit somewhere else? Ryan scoffed. Why? You own the cafeteria or something? I'll sit wherever I want. Bruno, unaware of our history, tried to smooth things over. Ruby, don't take him too seriously. Ryan's sharp-tongued. But he's not a bad guy. He's here for a one-year exchange from T University. Oh, and you guys are from the same hometown, right? Ryan and I exchanged a glance. He rolled his eyes. I looked away, sensing the awkward tension. Bruno kept trying to break the ice, chatting about funny stuff from earlier. I ran into that senior we used to feed milk to. He's gotten so much chubbier. Like Ryan, Bruno was also a rich kid, but well-mannered and emotionally stable. We met during a sophomore year club activity. He was the president, and I was the vice president. After a few collaborations, we realized we had a lot in common and always had something to talk about. Naturally, when he confessed, I said yes. First loves are unforgettable, but life isn't a novel. You can't love just one person your whole life. Eventually, you have to move on. Really? Let's find time to get him neutered. I've seen him harassing the stray female cats again lately. I joked. Ryan let out a cold snort. I ignored him. Bruno picked up a piece of cake and held it up to me. Your favorite from that bakery. I just went to get it. I opened my mouth to take a bite when Ryan suddenly slammed his hand against the table. It screeched as it jolted forward. The cake fell out of my mouth and hit the floor. Bruno frowned. What's wrong with you today? Ryan sneered, voice mocking. Oops, slipped. The atmosphere grew heavier and heavier. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I pushed my tray away. I'm done. Just as Bruno reached out, Ryan, without thinking, picked up my tray and started eating my leftovers. Why do you always leave so much? Bruno froze. I opened my mouth to speak, but stopped. When Ryan and I were together, he always did this. Teen boys eat a lot. I never finished my food, and he didn't like going back for seconds, so he just ate mine. He never once minded. I didn't expect he'd still kept that habit. Ryan's hand paused mid-motion. He lowered his head, tense and silent. After a suffocating moment, he suddenly stood up and walked away without a word. A moment later, a message from an unknown number popped up on my phone. What I meant was, your taste in men isn't great. Chapter 10. That night, I thought about it for a long time before deciding to tell Bruno about my history with Ryan. Out of respect for him and for our relationship. No wonder he was acting so weird today. I treated him like a bro, and he's been eyeing my girlfriend. Bruno rarely looked upset, but even then, he still tried to comfort me. It's all right. It's all in the past. I'll try to minimize your contact with him from now on. But talk is one thing. When our classes overlapped with his departments, we still had to sit together. Ryan had no concept of boundaries. Even knowing I was taken, he plopped down right on my left without hesitation. The classroom was packed, so Bruno had to sit on my right. I felt like I was sitting on pins and needles, trying to look like I was focused on the lecture, when in reality I was sweating through my back. At first, Ryan behaved himself until I began to let my guard down. That's when a folded slip of paper slid across my desk. I pretended not to notice. Ryan rested his cheek on one hand and stared at me with a half smirk, clearly ready to wait me out. I had no choice. When Bruno wasn't looking, I unfolded the note and froze. It was a doodle of me, exactly the same style as the ones he used to draw back when we were 17. The past came crashing in like a tidal wave. I felt dizzy for a second. Then I came back to my senses and crushed the note in my hand, tossing it aside. Ryan's smile slowly faded. He picked up the paper ball and quietly did something with it at his desk. Moments later, a crumpled little paper star appeared in front of me. Just then, Bruno turned to look and raised an eyebrow. "What's this?" "Just trash." I pinched the star between my fingers. And when the bell rang, I stood up with Bruno and tossed it into the trash bin. I'm not 17 anymore. I'm not at the age where paper notes and stars can move me. On the way to the cafeteria, Ryan trailed behind us at a casual pace. Bruno finally lost patience and frowned. "I'm going to eat with my girlfriend." "Why are you following us?" Ryan said lazily. "I'm going to eat too. This is the only path to the cafeteria." "When did I start following you?" Suddenly, I had an idea. I asked Bruno to give me a piggyback ride. He didn't understand, but did it anyway, obedient as always. So there we were, Bruno carrying me on his back, walking right in front of Ryan, the two of us chatting and laughing, and Ryan's face grew darker with every step. I wonder if he remembered, back when we were together. The person in that position used to be me. Chapter 11. That night, Bruno clung to me at the bottom of the dorm building. Just a little longer. Just a little more talking. This 6-foot-tall man was acting so clingy he nearly knocked me over, and then casually helped me back up like nothing happened. "Tell me, who's better, me or Ryan?" He stared straight into my eyes, suddenly asking that question. It was happening. I snapped to attention. That inevitable question every person with an ex gets asked. And I couldn't throw it back at him because Bruno didn't have an ex. I was his first love. I couldn't hesitate. "Of course I like you more." "Then tell me, did you love him more back then? Or do you love me more now?" He narrowed his eyes, pressing closer with every word. I fell silent. Who did I love more? I really like Bruno. Every day with him feels easy and full of joy. I think we're soulmates. But the love I had when I was younger, raw and passionate, was pure and untouched by anything else. Even just that brief hesitation made Bruno frown, his face darkening. I quickly stood on tiptoe, trying to kiss him. All right. Of course I love you more." He kept his hands in his pockets and refused to lower his head. He was a full head taller than me. If he didn't bend down, I couldn't reach him. Frustrated, I grabbed his collar. "You want a beating or what?" That finally made Bruno laugh. He leaned down and kissed me. The camphor tree rustled in the wind. The scent of lemon and sea salt filled the air, blending into the July night breeze, fresh, sweet, and dizzyingly intoxicating. His lips were cool. His long fingers cradled the back of my head, gently but firmly holding me in place when I instinctively tried to pull back for air. "Wait." I pushed him away, gasping. "You're suffocating me." He lowered his eyes, looking at me. "Better now?" "What?" The next second, his shadow fell over me again. Bruno gently bit my lower lip and mumbled against my mouth. "So, do you still like him?" "Still jealous, of course." I pushed him away, helpless. "I don't like him anymore. It's in the past." Bruno raised an eyebrow. His gaze shifted behind me and a smile tugged at his lips. I turned, following his line of sight. Under the massive camphor tree, Ryan stood silently in his black hoodie, watching us. His fists were clenched. I had no idea how long he'd been there. Just when I thought he might come over, he suddenly turned around and walked away. His strides were long, but his back looked a little defeated. Chapter 12. I didn't expect to run into Elise again. After the college entrance exam, I went to S University. Ryan went to T University. And Elise, whose grades were average, chose a lesser-known school nearby just to be close to Ryan. I'd heard that Ryan's dad had been pushing for their engagement, but Ryan was adamantly against it. He completely fell out with his father, saying the debt of gratitude was his father's, and if he wanted to repay it, He could marry Elise himself. Ryan's dad was so furious he slapped him across the face. As a result, Ryan didn't go home for 2 whole years. His mom nearly lost it, yelling at his dad, saying he was obsessed and even threatened divorce. That once happy family almost tore itself apart. Eventually, Ryan's dad backed down and dropped the idea altogether. I thought I'd never see Elise again, but fate had other plans. At a club gathering, I saw her once more. Bruno hadn't finished class yet, so I was waiting at the school gate to go with him to the event. Just 2 minutes into waiting by the roadside, a yellow Lamborghini Urus pulled up in front of me. The window rolled down, revealing Ryan's annoyingly handsome face. Heading to the gathering? Hop in, I'll give you a ride. I narrowed my eyes. How do you even know about it? You're not part of our club. Ryan grinned and pulled up a photo on his phone. Holding it in front of me. Applied last week. Got approved already. I'm a member now. Attending a group event. That okay with you? I started feeling frustrated. I didn't understand what Ryan was trying to do. We broke up together, mutually. And now, all these years later, he suddenly starts acting like he's not over me. It was seriously messing with my head. Yes, I did love him. And yes, breaking up tore me apart. I cried myself to sleep for nights. But that's all in the past now. I didn't want to argue. I turned and walked away. The car door opened and closed. Ryan caught up and grabbed my wrist. Ruby, we need to talk. His grip was so strong I couldn't break free. What are you doing? There's nothing to talk about. Let me go. You left like it meant nothing. Even if it were a dog, it'd have some feelings after so long. But you walked away clean and left me behind. And now what? You've got your new life. He gave a bitter laugh, but it was through gritted teeth. Got yourself a new boyfriend. Tossed me aside like a stray. Forgot all about me. Ruby, you're really fucking ruthless. His grip hurt. I yanked my arm back and said coldly, Ryan, did I not give you chances? If it hadn't been for your endless back and forth with Elise, would we even have broken up? Our breakup was because of you, not me. I know it was my fault. Ryan took a step closer, voice shaking with emotion. But why couldn't you wait for me? I told you I'd deal with it. Why couldn't you just trust me? Was your love for me that fragile? I stared at him for a long time and replied calmly, but Ryan, why should I? Why should I keep waiting for you? Suffering for your mistakes? If you really cared about me, would you have kept making me wait over and over again? I do care. I swear. I've lived all these years, and I've only ever loved one person, you. And what's that got to do with me? I said indifferently, you're not the center of the universe. Ryan, no one is born to revolve around you, to wait endlessly. I have no obligation to trust you, no obligation to wait. Yes, I loved you, but only enough to last until now. I already gave you enough chances. If loving you means waiting forever, why wouldn't I choose someone I don't have to wait for? Ryan's eyes widened in disbelief. His lips parted like he wanted to say something, but no words came out. Just as I was about to leave, a cold voice rang out behind us. So, you two are back together now? I turned around. There stood Elise, not far away, dragging a suitcase behind her. Chapter 13. After all these years, Elise seemed prettier, but her face now twisted with malice and hatred. I frowned, not wanting to get involved. But she suddenly lunged at me. No wonder he refused to get engaged to me. No wonder he hasn't gone home in years. So it's you again. Seducing him. She'd completely torn off her old sweet girl mask, raising her hand to slap me. Ruby, are you that desperate? Is Ryan the only man left in the world? Can't you just let him go? Before I could react, Ryan grabbed her wrist. I took the chance to slap her across the face. First of all, I'm not interested in Ryan. Second, even if we were something, his face doesn't have your name on it. He said he doesn't like you, and yet you keep clinging to him. So tell me, who's the pathetic one here? You hit me? Elise snapped, lunging at me again, but Ryan shoved her away so hard she fell to the ground. That's enough, he said coldly. I told you not to come looking for me again. Why are you here? You're treating me like this because of her? Elise looked stunned. My dad saved your dad's life. If it weren't for him, your dad would have been dead years ago. Ryan finally lost it. My dad is my dad. He can repay that debt himself. I've done more than enough for you all these years. What? Should I sacrifice my entire life too? Elise stared at him like she didn't recognize him anymore. After a while, she threw down a threat. Ryan, if you treat me like this, you'll regret it. And she ran off. My gut twisted, knowing how obsessed she was with Ryan. I had a bad feeling. Sure enough, not long after, I heard someone say, "There's someone trying to jump off the residential building." When I arrived, Ryan was already there, on the rooftop. Elise stood in a fluttering white dress. Her face looked calm, but beneath it seethed a storm of madness and hatred. The building wasn't high, only 6 floors, but jumping would still mean certain death. Ryan had already gone up. His expression was stormy. "Stop this. Come down. What the hell do you want?" He snapped. "What do I want?" Elise said softly. "I want you to love me." Ryan, why did we end up like this? We used to be so close. When we were kids and people made fun of me for not having a dad. You always stood up for me. You even said you'd marry me when we grew up. Why did everything change? Ryan was getting frustrated. I was a kid. I also said I wanted to be an astronaut. You really took that seriously? Elise didn't care what he said. She just kept talking to herself. Everything changed the moment Ruby showed up. Her eyes fell on me down below. Even at this distance, I could feel the hatred in her stare. Like she wanted to kill me. "Ruby, why did you have to show up? Do you know how many years I've loved him? If it weren't for you, we'd be together now. It's your fault. If I die, it's all your fault." I didn't know what to say. At that moment, I realized that the pathetic often bring it on themselves. Ryan was all Elise had left. He was her dream, her entire emotional support. That's why she'd become so twisted. I don't know when Bruno appeared behind me, but he gently took my cold hand, took off his jacket and draped it over my shoulders, then looked up and scoffed coldly. "If you die, it's because you're a fucking idiot. Your whole life revolves around a man. And if you die, it's because Ryan's also a fucking idiot for not dealing with this earlier." What does any of this have to do with my girlfriend? People nearby stared, shocked. Some even started filming. Bruno didn't care, one arm around my shoulder, the other in his pocket. He added, "If you really want to die, do it somewhere else. Don't scare my girlfriend. It's got nothing to do with Ruby." Ryan shouted. "Even if she never showed up, I still wouldn't like you. I've only ever seen you as a sister. Stop making a scene and come down." "Come down?" Elise smiled. "Fine, Ryan. Either you agree to marry me right now, or I jump. If I can't be with you, then life means nothing. I'll just end it here." The wind howled on the rooftop. A crowd had gathered below, whispering and pointing. Just when I thought Ryan would cave again like he used to, he said flatly, "Then go ahead, die." Elisa's eyes widened. Ryan's face was dark and unreadable, but his words came quickly, like years of resentment were finally being released. "You're the one person in this world I could never be with." "Why?" Elise screamed, crying hysterically. "Ryan, I love you. No one loves you more than I do. I treat you better than anyone. Why are you being so cruel?" Ryan stared at her. "Because you ruined the only chance I ever had at happiness. Because of you, she left me." At that moment, a firefighter who had snuck up behind her grabbed her, dragging her away from the edge. Elise kept screaming and sobbing, "Ryan! Ryan!" But Ryan stood still on the rooftop, not sparing her a single glance. Through the gusting wind, he and I locked eyes. For a moment, his features seemed to blur. 3 years ago, a boy smiled brightly at me and asked, "Ruby, my grades are just as good as yours now. Can you like me?" But the next moment, that memory shattered like dust, scattered by the wind. We both knew it. The past was the past. There's no going back. Chapter 14. After a year on exchange, Ryan returned to T University, thousands of miles away. He said nothing before he left. That night, I received a message from an unfamiliar number. Just 3 words. "I'm sorry." I stared at the apology that came 3 years too late, and quietly deleted it. I saw Ryan again at my wedding with Bruno. By then, We'd been out of university for 3 years. Bruno had taken over the family business. I was working at a law firm. Our careers were on track, and marriage just felt like the natural next step. Elise didn't die after all, but it seemed her mind eventually gave way. She once even showed up with a knife, trying to die together with Ryan. Ryan's father finally made up his mind and had her committed to a psychiatric hospital. She would likely spend the rest of her life behind tall walls and endless therapy. After that, Ryan went abroad. He didn't take over his father's company. Instead, he worked on Wall Street for a year, then started his own investment firm. In just 2 years, he became wildly successful, backing several major ventures. His net worth skyrocketed, but he never dated again and publicly claimed he would never marry. We all thought he'd never return to China. So when I saw him among the groomsmen, I instinctively looked at Bruno, dressed in a suit. Bruno held my hand and grinned. He handed me a fat red envelope and begged me to let him be a groomsman. I'm too kind to say no, but I had the feeling he just wanted to show off in front of his old love rival. I was on edge the entire wedding, half expecting Ryan to pull some stunt, but to my surprise, he truly seemed to be here just as a groomsman. Though he didn't smile much, he cooperated with everything. The only moment we had contact was during the group photo. When I tripped, he caught me and lifted my dress slightly. Careful. That was the only word he said to me the entire day. We didn't even exchange looks. I gradually relaxed. After the ceremony, I was heading to the bathroom, holding up my dress, when I ran into Ryan in the hallway, dressed in a white shirt, smoking. Since he'd already come to be a groomsman, it felt rude to ignore him. I greeted him politely. The other groomsmen and bridesmaids are eating. Why aren't you joining them? He shook his head. Not hungry. Oh, I tried to walk past him, but he stopped me quietly. Do you know why I wanted to be your groomsman? I turned back. Why? He glanced at me, snuffed his cigarette in the trash can, and gave a small laugh. No reason. Then he looked at his watch. Suit jacket draped over one arm. I've got to go. Help me tell Bruno I'm catching a flight. In such a rush? Yeah, I've been working on a new investment. I only flew back to attend your wedding. He turned around, back facing me, and waved lightly. Goodbye. I watched his back, and softly said, Goodbye, goodbye, Ryan. That night, almost every bridesmaid and groomsman posted photos from the wedding. In the group photo, everyone was smiling at the camera. Except Ryan. He was slightly turned, gaze seemingly fixed on me. Around his neck, he wore the star necklace I gave him 8 years ago. I knew he still had the tattoo of my name on his chest. I suddenly remembered, long ago, when Ryan and I were still together, we passed a wedding boutique. A huge wedding portrait hung in the window. Ryan held my hand, grinning with those white teeth. Ruby, one day, you and I will be in a photo like that. I looked at the group photo again. No wonder he insisted on being a groomsman. In the end, we did appear in that kind of photo, just not in the way he once imagined. Bruno pressed close behind me, his body warm. He whispered irritably in my ear, What are you looking at? It's our wedding night. You know. I turned off my phone and hugged him tightly. Nothing. Let the past stay in the past. 25-year-old Ruby was finally ready to say goodbye to 17-year-old Ryan.